All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm meteorologist Chad Crilly here in the Chad Crilly Weather Center. We have a busy weather afternoon shaping up across Southern California. In fact, numerous warnings that have recently been issued within the past 10 to 15 minutes. So I want to get you caught up to date on all of them. And here's what we're going to do, because there's so many warnings out there right now. We're going to kind of bounce around. We'll start where I think we have the most intense activity. And then from that point forward, we'll kind of head over to the next warnings and so on and so forth. So first of all, let me take you up right now to northeast San Diego County, where we have a flash flood warning that's in effect until 4 o'clock. And this one is a considerable flash flood warning. And as I read the text to you from the National Weather Service and what they're saying, again, it is a considerable flash flood warning, which is a step up from what we would call a baseline flash flood warning. Doppler radar has indicated thunderstorms capable of producing heavy rain exceeding 1 to 2 inches per hour. So this is Doppler radar estimated rainfall, but they're calling it considerable, likely because of how much rain has fallen in just a very short period of time. And again, this is in northeast San Diego County, and the polygon itself for this flash flood warning straddles itself into Riverside County as well. So let me just plot some of this on, and then we'll move on to other storms. But you can see for this considerable flash flood warning, about 2 to 2.5 inches of rain has fallen within the past 30 to 35 minutes. The other problem is obviously there are some communities down here, spots like Oasis, Mecca, Valerie, Thermal, even getting into Coachella, and obviously this is very high terrain up here. So the concern is, and I think why the National Weather Service has issued this considerable flash flood warning, is because the terrain here is so steep that water tends to run down and could lead to some flooding here on the desert floor. So again, a considerable flash flood warning remains in effect until 4 p.m. for extreme northeast San Diego County and parts of southeastern Riverside County. The next storm I want to jump down to is a new severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued by the National Weather Service moments ago. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect until 3:30 for far southern San Diego County. So let's jump over to the radar now and reflectivity. And we've been using the Yuma site because it has been kind of giving us a better job at picking up on some of these storms here over the past couple of days. But I'm going to briefly switch over to our San Diego radar site and see if it may do a better job at picking up on some of this rainfall. And at this time, neither radar sites, neither Yuma nor San Diego, is doing a good job at showing this particular cell of concern. But regardless, we'll pick one and we'll go with it. And I think I'm going to pick Yuma's radar site just for the time being, because, again, it's probably going to show us a little bit more when it comes to the particular angle of this storm. So let's get down to it. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning now for extreme southern San Diego County until 3:30. And let me pull the text on this from the National Weather Service. And I would suspect this is a baseline severe thunderstorm warning. So, yeah, the hail size, according to the National Weather Service, isn't even up to 1 inch. But we do have some winds up to 60 miles per hour with this. And obviously the cell itself right now is over Clover Flat, Live Oak Springs, seeing heavy amounts of rain, likely some lightning in here as well. The storm is moving at this time to the west at 10 miles per hour. And they're saying 60 mile per hour wind gusts and the possibility of some penny-sized hail within this. And just for the sake of clarity, I'm going to turn off our special weather statement just so you can see the severe thunderstorm warning polygon itself. And it is this cell that is concerning to us and to the National Weather Service. As a matter of fact, they've issued that severe thunderstorm warning again until 3:30. So let me put this into animation mode. And you can see how the cell really was at its strongest, likely as it crossed over from Baja California into extreme southern San Diego County, kind of near or just west of Tierra del Sol, and then over Clover Flat. It now looks like it's weakening a little bit. This is a situation with the storms over the past couple of days. They gain strength really quickly. and they maintain strength for maybe 15 to 25 minutes, and then after that they kind of fall apart without a real forcing mechanism in play. But regardless, let me go ahead and turn on our exclusive threat detector tool in here. And what this does is it really analyzes what's going on inside of the storm. And by the way, this threat detector is exclusive to us here at Chad Curley Weather. There's no other TV station in San Diego County that has this product. It is exclusively available to us, and right now our threat detector is picking up on, yes, quite a bit of rain over the Clover Flat area up through Live Oak Springs, but I think the hail core on this, and again, the hail wasn't necessarily the issue. They were talking penny-size hail, but I think the hail has certainly come down. It doesn't look like there is any more hail falling within this storm. So let's check base velocity and see if we can't pick up some of the winds that may be ongoing here within this storm. And again, because of the fact that we are looking in a very mountainous terrain, it makes it hard for radar to shoot over the mountains and see what's going on inside of the storm. Again, for the time being right now, we are using San Diego's radar site, but we're kind of having to bounce back and forth a little bit. Let's go to velocity here again, using San Diego's site, and we may be able to plot a little bit of wind in here. The more I really tilt up the radar, I can manipulate the radar a little bit, the San Diego radar site. But I would say within here, yeah, you're probably finding some wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour moving through Clover Flat. This storm itself definitely appears, to me at least, that it is weakening. It is not as strong as it was. Again, here's about 45 minutes ago or so. It came in really strong right over the U.S. and Mexico border, and as soon as it crossed over, it moved through Tierra del Sol. It weakened, and I'm really confident at this point saying that this storm is no longer severe. Again, as we look at the barren button here, our threat detector. In fact, you can see at one point, as we can reverse this, when the storm was crossing over the U.S.-Mexico border right along Tierra del Sol Road is when we were picking up estimates of hail up to likely half of an inch, getting close to that inch mark. And I think the National Weather Service saw that. They issued the severe thunderstorm warning on it. And then as it progressed northward, we lost the hail core. Now there's still some pockets of heavy rain that are coming down. But regardless, the National Weather Service continues their severe thunderstorm warning until 3:30 here for southern San Diego County because of the cell that is weakening. We have more storms that are going up near Julian and Harrison Park. We also have a third flash flood warning. We haven't looked at this one yet. This one is a flash flood warning for northern San Diego County until 5:15 p.m. And I'm going to grab the text here on this one as well. And this, to me, appears to be Doppler radar indicated flooding. So we'll look at some of the totals here. They're also considering this a considerable flash flood warning. So again, this has been a recent change within the past probably 5, 6, maybe a little bit more than that, 7 years, where the National Weather Service started assigning tiers to different warnings. And so, you have a base warning, a base flash flood warning, or a base severe thunderstorm warning, and then it goes from considerable and then up from considerable to destructive. And so considerable is a step up. So this is a big deal. You can see heavy amounts of rain that are now falling over Eagle's Nest, and I'll put this into loop over the past 45 minutes, and you can see the cell may be weakening a little bit, but it really isn't moving very much. I would call this a stationary storm at this time. But regardless, we have a considerable flash flood warning on this. That's in effect until 5:15 p.m. This is Doppler radar indicated flooding. Again, rainfall rate is 1 to 2 inches per hour. Flash flooding is ongoing or will begin shortly. That's the text straight from the National Weather Service. So let me go ahead and turn on our accumulation tool. And this is a look at the accumulation over the past 45 minutes or so. And you can really see why the Weather Service has bumped up this flash flood warning into the considerable category because of how much rain has fallen in this area. So let me plot some of this for you. Again, just within the past 45 minutes, we're talking about 2 to 3 inches of rain. Think about 2 to 3 inches of rain during our normal winter season when we get rain and storms either from the Pacific Northwest or our atmospheric river that comes through. And you hear meteorologists forecasting, okay, over the course of 2 to 3 days, we could be talking about 2 to 3 inches of rain. In your mind, you probably think, yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big storm system. Now, imagine 2 to 3 inches of rain coming down in 45 minutes. That's exactly what's happening here in northern San Diego County and why we have the considerable flash flood warning that's in place. It does include San Incognito, as well as Eagle's Nest, and we can zoom in a little bit tighter here to perhaps some roads that may actually be impacted by the flooding right now that's occurring. Here is Canyon Road and Borrego Pa Lane. So Canyon Road and Borrego Pa Lane, one of the spots that have picked up on, again, likely 2 to 3 inches of rain over the past 45 minutes to an hour when this cell developed, and because the cell's not moving very fast, you get those rainfall totals that come down really high, hence the considerable flash flood warning that we have in effect right now. So Canyon Road, Borrego Pa Lane is kind of in the bullseye for heavy amounts of rain. Again, 2 to 3 inches in the past 45 minutes to an hour that has likely led to ongoing flash flooding. And you also have to keep in mind as we kind of look at the terrain in this area, I want to turn off for a second some of the reflectivity and we can get down into the terrain a little bit. So check this out. This is really interesting. And I love this product that we can use here, again, exclusive to us here at Chad Crilly Weather. But the terrain is quite mountainous where this considerable flash flood warning is, right? So this is not flat land by any means. You have mountains, you have altitude. And so what ends up happening, right, is you start talking about all this rain that's coming down, all the rain is coming down, 2 to 3 inches in the last hour. And so then where does the rain go? With these mountains, these canyons, you can even see some of the creeks and streams, some of these dry canyon beds are the spots that really quickly flood. I mean, this is flash flooding territory and country at its finest. So again, there's the setup. The rain comes down 2 to 3 inches per hour. It falls over some of the mountainous terrain up here, and then it flows down these dry riverbeds, and this is where you get some of the significant flash flooding. So the National Weather Service right on par and really making a smart move by issuing this considerable flash flood warning until 5:15 again for northern San Diego County. And I'll continue to check back for updates as to whether or not we have any ground reports or ground truth on flooding. In fact, let's turn on, number one, our storm reports, and I don't see anything yet. I wouldn't expect to, but also we can turn on the lightning here as well. Some of these storms, again, have been pretty electric. The one that has a considerable flash flood warning on it here in northern San Diego County, it would appear at this time that the storm is weakening, but it is still raining over this area, which is not good news. Because there is more than likely already flash flooding that's ongoing. And even though the storm itself is weakening, it's kind of collapsing on itself, the rain continues to come down, and that more than likely is exacerbating the flooding situation that is already taking place here in this area. How much rain are we talking about in terms of rainfall rates right now, even with the cell weakening within the considerable flash flood warning area, which again includes spots like Eagle's Nest and San Ignacio? Rainfall rates at this time are in the range of about 2 inches per hour, a little less than an inch per hour, and that's with the weakening storm that is still moving over top of some of the same areas here. So it's still raining. The considerable flash flood warning remains in effect until 5:15. We showed you the geography of this area and the topography and how quickly and how easily it is for the rain to run down those dry canyon creeks and streams, and that's where you see some of those images of the big flash flooding. So that is definitely a real concern that we're watching out for. Elsewhere, we still have our considerable flash flood warning here in far northeastern San Diego County until 4:40. It very much has stopped raining in this area, but again, just because it stopped raining doesn't mean you're necessarily in the all clear either, because a similar situation as we look at the mountainous terrain here where this considerable flash flood warning is in effect. It has stopped raining, yes, but think about the fact that all the rain has piled up in this area. The rain comes down and then it kind of washes down and runs down through the dry creek beds. And what ends up happening is the desert floor down here floods really severely, and that's where the flash flood warnings are needed, and flash flooding takes place. So again, you can see why they've extended the polygon all the way out to spots like Oasis here, the community of Oasis, on this considerable flash flood warning in northeast San Diego County. It is because of the fact that, again, we looked at the topography from the west side. I'm looking at it from the east side now. Well, first of all, look at how much rain has fallen here in the past, hour to hour and a half. A lot of rain has come down. And so then obviously as you look at the topography and the geography, all that rain has to flow somewhere. That's how gravity works. And so the rain is now flowing down some of these creeks and dry canyon streams, and it ends up pulling into the desert floor here. So you can see why they extend the considerable flash flood warning out to spots like Polk Street, Sherway, Tyler Street, because there is a possibility that all the rain up here in the mountains flows down those dry riverbeds and creeks and ends up down here on the desert floor. Excuse me. And that's where some of the flooding comes up and some of the major flooding concerns that we've been talking about. But again, that cell for now has weakened. But just because it's weakened doesn't necessarily mean that the flooding threat is over. We have more thunderstorms that continue to pop up here near Julian. This cell is southeast of Julian, and it's producing quite a bit of lightning. It is nearly stationary as well, so this one down the line could become a flooding threat. It's over Harrison Park. It's been producing, 5-6 lightning strikes in the past 15 minutes. But you could see some of the purple indicating where the very heavy rain is. Again, this is just to the east of Julian. The topography, the geography is very similar in this area. It's flash flood country, so we'll have to watch out for that. And then some good news to report to you, that severe thunderstorm warning that was set to expire at 3:30 has obviously been allowed to expire early just because the storm, as we were telling you, has completely weakened. But you see what's going on now. We're starting to get into peak daytime heating. It's 2:30, and we have thunderstorms that are just absolutely igniting and lighting up here across the San Diego County mountains, which is exactly what we expected to happen today, is all of these strong thunderstorms igniting and developing across the San Diego County mountains. And, the other thing to mention is our flow today. First of all, the winds are a lot lighter than they were yesterday. Our flow today is coming directly out of the south, so we can kind of expect the storms to move very slowly from south to north as they develop across the San Diego County mountains. Out here in Imperial County, we've had some high-level cloud cover throughout the day today. There was an early morning round of showers and thunderstorms that sort of temporarily stabilized the atmosphere, but some of the latest guidance is suggesting that there could be more storms that pop up this evening in and around this area between about 6 and 7 o'clock, and some of those could be strong to severe. So that's kind of the bigger picture in terms of actual warnings and where we stand with warnings right now. We have 2 flash flood warnings. They're both considerable. The first one here is in extreme northeast San Diego County. The rain has stopped, but I'm still concerned about some of that water that is running down the dry creeks and down the mountains and into the riverbeds there, both on the west side of the polygon and then even maybe more concerning here on the east side of the polygon, out towards spots like Oasis. And then our other flash flood warning that we have at the moment is for the cell that is near Eagle's Nest. This one is also a considerable flash flood warning until 5:15. You notice I can put this back into lapse mode here over the past 2 hours. And notice how the storm really intensified quickly just north of Eagle's Nest. This is where we started getting some of those really high rainfall rates in here. And then the Weather Service pulled the trigger on the flash flood warning. And then the storm kind of weakened. There you can see the flash flood warning issued. The initial storm here to the north of Eagle's Nest did weaken a little bit. However, with that being said, now it looks like as we approach 241, the southern edge of this cell is starting to strengthen and pulse back up a little bit. These are pulse-like thunderstorms that we've been seeing over the past 3 days here in San Diego County. So now we have more rain that is falling inside of our considerable flash flood warning polygon near Eagle's Nest. How much rain specifically? We can turn over our Barron button and check this out. You can see now we're talking about 2 inches per hour. So if this cell was to sit over top of this location for an hour, you would get up to 2 inches, which is not completely out of the question here. So that's why, again, the considerable flash flood warning remains in effect at this time for this area, Eagle's Nest, not including Warner Springs, but you can definitely see the storm is trying to kind of re-intensify, back build on itself now. The southern flank of the cell is getting stronger. It is very possible that when the storm was pretty strong up here north of Eagle's Nest and then started to collapse, there may have been some outflow winds that pushed south and then has helped reignite this new cell. It is not severe warned at this time, but it is producing a lot of very heavy rain right now, right along State Route 79 and San Felipe Road. And you can see even some of the purple contours showing up. There could be a little bit of small hail that's falling in this vicinity as well. So watching that storm closely, also watching our storm up here near Julian, Banner, Harrison Park that's producing quite a bit of heavy rainfall. Let's see if we do have a special weather statement on it, and we do. So this cell again near Julian has a special weather statement on it. Let me grab the text to you. Obviously, it is a special weather statement until 3:15 for the cell to the southeast of Julian over the vicinity of Harrison Park and Banner right now. So 3:15 on this special weather statement. And my guess would be it's for the possibility of a little bit of hail and some wind in here. And then we can turn on our Barron button or threat detector and show you where some of that hail may be falling. So this is for winds to 55 miles per hour. So this storm is just below severe criteria. In order to get a severe thunderstorm warning, you would need winds to 60. And this is only producing right now quarter-size hail. So the wind is definitely going to be the bigger issue with this cell southeast of Julian and near Banner and Harrison Park. The National Weather Service says the storm is moving. Not at all. They say it's nearly stationary. So remember I was telling you a second ago how our flow today is out of the south, and it's a lot weaker of a flow, not in the sense that there's less moisture, but the winds are not quite as strong, which means the storms end up sitting over the same area. So obviously Harrison Park right now is getting inundated with heavy amounts of rain, State Route 79. If you're traveling north along State Route 79 and you're trying to get into Julian, it is a very tough ride. I would wait a little bit of time until the cell weakens and kind of falls apart, which it inevitably will, right? That's the thing, is these storms pulse up, they pulse down. Because the winds on this are at 55 miles per hour, I wouldn't be surprised to see a severe thunderstorm warning pop up on this cell here in the next couple of minutes. In the meantime, let's check out the velocity and see if we can pull maybe a little better estimate in terms of wind speeds. And yeah, I think we can on this. We're getting a better view. So let me plot out some of these wind speeds for you, and I'll give you my spiel about radar and when it comes to plotting out winds. So right now we're looking from the Yuma radar site, right? And so you have to think that is very far southeast of Julian and Banner. And so the radar beam initially starts off pretty low. And so if you live near Yuma, you get a great depiction and image of what's happening down to the surface. But with time, that radar beam has to shoot kind of further into the sky and reach higher up as it attempts to get a scan and a volume picture of what's going on, both with the reflectivity and with the wind. So what I mean by that is, as we look at these storm winds right now with this cell near Julian, and what I'm about to plot out, keep in mind, more than likely, this is above the surface. So here are some plots here on the winds. So there's, again, 22 miles per hour on some of this. Again, keep in mind that this is above the surface. And so I think, we're getting 22, 30, close to 30 around State Route 79. That's several hundred feet off of the surface. Probably closer to the ground is where we're actually getting those wind gusts that are probably pushing 55 miles per hour, which again is extremely close to severe criteria. So we'll be watching this closely as we turn on our threat detector. The threat detector is also picking up on some of that small hail. The hail core on this particular cell is likely just east of State Route 79. And let's go ahead and plot out perhaps how big some of this hail could be. So yeah, east of State Route 79, east of Harrison Park, and west of California Finding and Hiking Trail, you're getting hail size up to 1/2 inch, which is definitely below severe criteria. We need hail to be up to 1 inch in order to reach the severe criteria for a severe thunderstorm warning to be issued. But obviously we have winds to 55, so that's pretty close to it. And again, some of the purple color that you're seeing there near Harrison Park would indicate to me that, again, there is hail falling, and we just confirmed that with some of the hail that's coming down. Another special weather statement has been issued. This is cluttered, isn't it? Let me turn, again, I want you to see these significant flash flood warnings that are in effect. The special weather statement up here, this one, you can almost cancel out because it's no longer raining heavily in this area. The thunderstorm has weakened, but there is this new storm that is kind of redeveloped south near Eagle's Nest, and it has a special weather statement on it until 3:15. And so let me go ahead and grab the text on this one. Again, my guess would probably be that this is for some wind and hail. So winds to 55 on this one, and hail up to about 1/2 inch on this cell. And again, it is moving west at 5 miles per hour. So extremely slowly, west at about 5. So let's go ahead and dive into this a little bit more. First of all, we'll plot out some of the winds, and keep in mind we're looking pretty far above the surface, only at about 12, 15 miles per hour. I think closer to the surface, you're finding those winds pushing 55. As soon as we get to 58 miles per hour, that would be the criteria for the National Weather Service to pull out a severe thunderstorm warning on this cell. We're not quite there yet. And then obviously you can see in the purple, that is where we have not only heavy rain, but also some hail that's falling. Again, State Route 79. It is a rough ride along State Route 79 from Mortis Junction northward here towards Eagle's Nest, with the heavy rain and the hail that's coming down. As we check on our Barron button, our threat detector, again, our exclusive tool, nobody else in San Diego County has this. We can give you extremely accurate and specific depiction of what the hail size is. Here's Los Tulas, and in this vicinity right now, we're still at about 1/2 inch hail, which is in line with what the National Weather Service has for the special weather statement. And again, the storm continues to slowly drift west at about 5 miles per hour. So let's try and put a track on this and just see what happens. Sometimes on these days where the storms are stationary or, barely moving, I don't even see a point really in putting a track on it, just because before they move in the direction that they're supposed to head, they weaken pretty quickly. But regardless, I would say Mesa Grande, Mortis Junction, La Jolla, Amigo, all spots that if the storm was to maintain its strength And today, because our flow is a little slower, it is possible that this storm kind of heads out in this direction, out towards the west. Obviously, you're seeing, spots like La Jolla Amigo, Palomar Mountain, Mauritius Junction, Mesa Grande. I would just kind of keep an eye to the sky as this storm moves west at 5 miles per hour. That still gives you like an hour of lead time on this. But, still could be headed in your direction. Special weather statement continues for the storm near Julian. We know it's producing wind up to 55 miles per hour and perhaps some hail up to quarter size on that particular cell. And then we do have our flash flood warnings, our 2 flash flood warnings in northern San Diego County and in northeast San Diego County. Other than that, we're warning free. We'll jump off stream for just a second, but I want to leave you with this. This is a picture from San Marcos. And I know it says Ranchita there on the text. Let me get rid of that. This is a picture from San Marcos from our Alert California, UC San Diego, and SDG&E cam pointed obviously towards the east. And you can see the really towering cumulonimbus clouds with these storms that are near Julian and a little bit north. And those really sharp edges that you see at the top, that indicates the storms are still growing. So here's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to take a little break from streaming, and I'm going to update social media. And then as soon as we have any more warnings, like a severe thunderstorm warning or another flash flood warning, I will jump back on stream. Continue to keep up to date with the weather today in the mountains. It is going to be a long afternoon ahead of us as we track these storms. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.